Hello, and welcome back to Realness with Michael Pez.
And Chantele Francis.
And I'm Nick Rovers.
And welcome back. We are just about to talk about the season premiere of Big Brother Canada, Season 8. Supersized. Crazy.
Supersized, which means it's going to be 12 weeks long. So it's going to actually be a full 3 months of Big Brother. We're getting the whole shebang.
And I think that the production value was awesome. I think they stepped up their game. And the house looks great. I think the house looks amazing.
Well, Nick and I we went to see the premiere live. And I remember watching it. I don't know if you felt the same way, Nick. But, I got, goosebumps because it was so, grandiose. And it was, this big action movie. And it's, surround sound in the studio. And, I felt it was really cool. One thing I wish that they'd done was had the all the superheroes of the cast in that little segment, because there was some other woman that was kind of leading the story. But I thought it was really cool and I was really excited by it.
They were going for epic with that intro video, that comic book theme with all the scenes. It was really clever and really good, well done. And it was actually really epic to watch as well. My only criticism with it was at the end, it's 12 weeks, and then it's and one hero will emerge. And I was I wish it was one hero or one villain would emerge, because I also root for villains sometimes too. So
that is good point there, Nick. And I guess the theme is each hero or villain will determine their own path. And I like that. I like people, that's what I love about Big Brother personally, is that we are our own chessboard pieces, and we can determine our own path as we maneuver to the game. We have everything we need to win. And I think that that's what a superhero embodies, is having everything it takes to, big
a thing for me that caught me off guard. I'm is this maybe a new twist? Because she's you will play by my rules, which obviously you always do play by Big Brother's rules. That's part of it. But then she's the character in the comic was no, I'm writing my own story. I'm oh, is there going to be a lot of things where you can go against the rules or against the grain? And I'm hoping that
there totally might be. And what I love about comic book stuff is that the hero, we'll talk about this of how the beginning started, where it's these people all of a sudden from the get-go are forced to be this certain character. They're pegged as a villain, can become a hero, can go back and forth, and it's that's the struggle. Batman.
Batman. I also thought Arissa looked amazing. I loved that red glittery dress. I loved sparkles, and I thought she looked awesome. And it seemed I love that she was excited to be there. I feel I know she's a super fan, but as a host, it feels good that she's on this journey with us. She has her own opinions and her feelings, and she's not just reading a teleprompter. She's invested, and I felt that she was excited for the season to be back.
It's not just her job. She's obsessed too. Even in the downtimes of filming takes for the premiere, is just and remember that time, and whoa, were you guys here for that? She wants to be on this podcast, so she would fit right in. It's not it's just a job where she's, oh yeah, I think I remember that. She's a super fan like us.
Let's invite her. Let's invite her.
Let's do it.
We can just put her down in a little other spot.
Yes, there's going to be 16 house guests as well, which is a little bit larger, if I'm not mistaken. It's usually 14, or is it always 16?
It's around there.
They brought in the Gatecrasher in season 6 and 7. So I don't know. I'm shocked it's only staying 16, and I don't know if it will only stay 16. But I'm hoping there's some new people thrown into it. That would be supersized to me, because it seems pretty standard.
I love it.
Yeah, as you said, Mike, the house I thought looked amazing, but I think living in there, it might be a little bit of a cool eyesore. I can imagine having crazy dreams about running through this house that's so prints and bam and color and comic book and whatever. It looks really cool, but I wonder if it's gonna kind of get into people's subconscious. It's
the one thing that I thought was, if I was to like you said, it's too much. What I wanted to do is I would plant myself in that black and white room, so that one, I would stand out, and two, that it wouldn't be so much color in your face. You know what I mean? It would be the more neutral room.
Yeah, no, I thought the black and white room was the room that I was gravitating towards. I would want to sleep in that room. I felt it was the coolest.
And what's with all their heads?
It panned to the hot tub area, and there was oh, sorry, go ahead.
the chamber with all the heads in it.
Oh, that was cool.
I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like the nominees, that the head of household has to grab a head and just like stick it. Like, this is my nomination.
The back room with the hot tub, like it was just so brightly colored, rainbow like lights and everything. I was like, I would want to spend all my time there because I like bright, busy, fun like casinos and like big bright areas, and that was just like the part that stood out to me the most. But just the details compared to the other seasons on the walls and everywhere, it was just insane. And that HOH room was crazy cool.
Yeah.
Like we haven't even seen it. They just sent one little picture of it in the premiere, and I'm still like, I need to see more of it. Like it was awesome.
You know, I'm gonna do a little bit of investigating and see who the artist is that made all their comic book heroes. Because like, I want one done to me. I want to see.
I don't know why.
Some of them looked a little goofy, but they were really well done most of the time.
I thought it was just like, I don't know. They must have been really excited to see themselves as a cartoon superhero. Like I thought that was also something I felt made it really epic. It was like just seeing like all the work that it took into produce like these like comic book entities.
Yeah.
So the forum now is the head of household competition area, which I thought was a new kind of twist, like the naming of it. The vanquished is the have or have not, I guess, area, and then the chamber is, I guess, is for the chambers where the non-evicted house guests like deliberate. Or, like I wasn't sure what they meant by that.
I don't know. It's whoever sculpted
Chamber's the one with the busts of everyone's heads, so that might be.
Chamber. So it's,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And it said the forum. I'm like, ooh, what's this? And then Guy was just like, oh, I think it's just the name of the backyard. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
So this is Big Brother Canada Volume 8. I think that sounds really epic too.
Yeah.
So which 4 house guests will be sacrificed? So the first 6 that went in were Kyle, Mingli, Chris, Brooke, and Angie. So seeing them live, honestly, they looked a lot more nervous than they did on the show. On the show, they looked like confident, but like they looked nervous in real life.
Yeah.
Terrified.
Kristen was even commenting like, well, they look really nervous, don't they? Like getting us to like recognize how nervous they were too. It's funny.
Any thoughts about them? No?
No, I just was like, my opinion changed. Having seen them go into the house, my opinion for my team kind of changed. And I was like kind of happy with who I picked now. Like it's like we can go into that kind of right now where I'm like, I'm really happy I took some people. Like I'm like, and then there's some people that I'm like, damn, like I kind of wish I got Jamar.
Really?
I kind of wish, like
I do, obviously.
I just like from the get-go, he like went in there and started going to Min Lee and going, hey, so like, why you like that? Why you like that? And she's just opening the vault and starts talking about herself. And he was just like gaining information. And I'm like, that's cool.
Mm.
I mean, I think you might be giving him more credit than he deserves.
I might be totally, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not my opinion changed of him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So the second group was Kyle. Wait, was that right? No, then I'm not sure.
First was Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle was the first group. I guess the second group, was Michael, Jamar, Carol, and Madeline and Suzanne. No,
Showman.
Okay.
Showman's going in there.
Well, I had a feeling, and that's kind of like why I picked both of those 2 first. They weren't necessarily strategically who I was into, but like I felt that people were going to like them and they're going to maybe move forward together. It seems like Big Brother is pushing that agenda.
Over pushing.
Are pushing that agenda.
So, obviously, yeah. And then what's the third group?
Well, we did actually hear though, because when we were at the premiere, they didn't announce like all the prizes and stuff like that. So I remember Nick, you were speculating like, okay, are they not going to get the $100,000 prize? But it is a $100,000 cash prize. There's $10,000 worth of groceries from Summerfresh, and there's a dream vacation for 2 anywhere in the world from Expedia. So that's a pretty banging prize.
It's insane.
Not
Back to group 2 real quick before we move on. Just I was nervous about how Suzanne was going to do walking into the house when she finally got there, but she was just bouncing around every conversation, getting super intimate with everyone. It wasn't shown as much in the episode, but in that live stuff at the premiere. And everyone was just super into her. And I think we even made a mention, we're just like, wow, she's actually she's doing well at this initial first impression, where I thought she might be written off as a bit loud and obnoxious, but she controlled her words, and she was really good. I was happy at that moment to have her on my team even more.
And actually, before that, which I really liked, was that Ming Ling was she was like right on to the drinks. Like the first thing she says, like, "Can I get a drink? Let's have another one. Can we cheers? Like, how many of us are there? You know?" And then like,
is it rude to drink too?
Exactly. Like she just seems like somebody from the get-go that I would like kind of hang out with. Like I know her intro video wasn't the most
flattering,
you know, loving towards her, we'll say, or like it didn't make you really like her that much. But I think as a personality, like she might be okay to hang out with, you know, like I might actually like her as a person. So then the next group is John Luke, Nico, Brienne, Vanessa, and Hira.
Three of my people, and I love it. Yeah. Honestly, that Jean-Luc, I want that suit. I want that suit that he wore.
He says that he's going to be the smartest person in the house.
The one person?
Very nervous. Jean-Luc seemed very nervous.
He's not going to be the smartest person in the house. He thinks he might be he might think he's the smartest, but he's not going to be the smartest. No way.
I don't think so. Not at all. Not in my opinion, anyways. It was really nice to see Hira. We kind of mentioned in our draft podcast that, you know, it was the first time that someone of Sikh background was going to be on the show, and I like his personality. Like, you know, we saw a little bit more of him. He's like, you know, he's great.
Yeah, very genuine. I think people were drawn to him. He seemed very caring and nurturing. I know I'm fast forwarding, but like even with like towards the end with Nico, like he just seemed very, like he could just pick up on people's emotions really well. And I think when everyone's going crazy and feeling isolated, he'll be a good listener and a person to be around, and no one wants to get rid of that. So.
And I love the fact that he had like different colors for what he wore, like for his headdress and everything. And I was just like, which one should I wear? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he sounded just like that.
Exactly.
I'm really good. I'm really good. Yeah.
I thought it was really cute, though. I don't know if you noticed like the little interaction with Ming Lee and Vanessa, and she's like, "Oh, I feel like you're so physical," and she's like, "Oh, I am," and then she's like, "What do you do?" And like, "Are you a seductress?" I'm like,
yeah. Yeah. And shown in the downtime between the premiere, after the twist, it showed Vanessa just like massaging Ming Lee, and she's like, "Can I get a massage?" Like, "Ooh, that's good." Like she was really playing it up, especially with Vanessa too. And then like towards the end, like you don't really have much context, but Vanessa's like, "I really want you to stay. I love you. Like I need you in this game." I'm like, whoa, like Ming Lee worked her well. So.
Well, and do you think that's true? Because we didn't really see a confessional after about how anybody really felt about people on the first episode. So do you think that being honest there?
I think so, because she immediately changed it right when other people walked around when she was talking to just Ming Lee. She's like, yeah, like I want you all here, and she changed the subject of her conversation to being more general. But it started with "I need you here, I love you," and then it went to this, "Oh, everyone's listening. Oh yeah, it would suck to see anyone go" kind of tone. So, I think she was genuine to say that.
Are we surprised at who was the four that were in the bottom?
No, I was in the audience and I looked over to you, Chantele, and I named all four of them. This is just I was proud. I was like, right when she announced it's four, I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And she named all four, I said. And yeah, it was not shocked. But I had the videos to judge off of. And I was like, I think I have an idea what Canada likes.
Obviously, those four people, those four were probably either the loudest or the most negative. And like, why would Canada? But then again, they didn't really know that Canada was going to vote for that.
Yeah, I wonder how much was producer interference.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That I think that, like, it's part of the game. It's part of the show. fine. But like they definitely were giving people kind of like an archetype of like, this is how I want you to come across, or this is, you know, probably pushing a little bit like, can you say that a little bit more cutting, or can you know what I mean? I feel like it was a little bit more produced to be a little bit more of that version of themselves. So like, yeah, maybe they have a little bit of that in them, like, oh, I could be cutthroat, I could be a super villain, like whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that they were kind of asked to draw upon it even more and play upon it even more. And then they were able to cut out this like archetype of them that we were now voting on. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's fully fair.
They were showing Madeline, and just like, I'm sure she hasn't played tennis in 9 years, and it's like, I'm like, wow, they're really pushing this tennis thing. Okay, I get it. I was just like, I don't know how much of that they were telling her to ham it up. Even her like pictures with her with the racket, I'm like, okay.
He's holding it upside down.
So I felt really, really gutted though for them when they were announced as like the bottom four, you know, because like, I mean, okay, granted, I don't like first night boots, second night boots. I'm not into that because I know how much work it takes to get on the show, how much passion these people have behind, like, even if they weren't a super fan, like, you go through a lot still to get to be there on the show. And for it to be plucked away, like, without anything that you really can do to stop it, that's really frustrating.
I don't think the fans like that either, just in general. I don't think Canada wants to see someone just ripped out. We want to see everyone's interactions more thoroughly. So
well, but that's the cool thing about this. What I do like about this, what they did here is they gave 4 people. You're in the bottom. You have 3 shots or 2 shots at trying to like get back out of this. So we're going to do a physical comp, we're going to do a mental comp, and then the 2 other ones are going to have to like fight for it. But I mean, that's the game. That is the game in just general. Like, let's just say there was a head of house, and those head of household did have those 4 in mind, and they did put them up.
Yeah. They had 2 veto competitions, and they kind of, the first little trial was their video, and they should know, like, it's like they say the game is on right when you start applying. So the video is obviously testable information, perhaps, or I don't know, they did it on season 7. They exposed everyone's conversations right at the start. So just like being aware of the game will let you control how you're coming across. So that's chance 1. Then the 2 veto competitions, and then a vote. And they had 5 days to do this. Like it's nice.
Like, as much as you could be like, I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, and blah, 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 you're still a real person, and you're still a nice person. So that's kind of like, I kind of really like Suzanne now. Because you got to see Suzanne go, oh man, Canada doesn't really like me. Well, guess what? I'll show them. And it's a chance of like redeeming yourself, as opposed to, we'll get to it later probably, but the other person that
we were shown that she might be.
Yeah.
But she demonstrated it when she was crying on her own, and she's like, no, I have an uphill battle right when I came in. I gotta like just focus on this. I'm like, okay, she's not letting it consume her like some of the other people might have, you know.
You know, and like, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I don't really know what how like the producers talk to them, but like the producers are like, we picked you because you're awesome and you're like amazing, and like they are amazing people in real life. They're not going to pick somebody who's a terrible person. They're just going to pick somebody who's like a big, huge personality. Yeah. And that's what they want. And just, unfortunately, those 4 people got into the bottom. Like, my boy from Markham, like Chris from Markham, I was all about Chris from Markham. And I'm like, cool, hometown guy. But, like, at the same time, his video was very...
non-relatable.
Yeah, sure. That's a great way of saying it.
I wonder now, though, if it's going to change people how they do these videos now from this point forward. Like, are they going to be a little bit more tactical with like how they present themselves in these videos? That they know now that it could actually be something that could prevent them from their dream. So, like, if I were going in the house, like, I'd be like, well, like, if I'm going to be a villain, I'm going to be a villain that someone likes, and so like, I'll be more strategic in how I create my video from that point forward. So I'm just curious if that's what they want maybe for the future, or if it's like it's something that falls out now that they've done this, that people are going to choose and kind of change their strategy from now going forward.
Yeah.
Oh, still saddening though.
You can market yourself as a villain in still a human, likable, rootable way. And I wonder how much of it, like, they don't even let them leave the little set where they're filming these videos until they get all the things they tell them they have to do. Like, Hira just standing there pointing and dancing like this. I'm sure he wasn't just like, guys, I really need a shot of me doing this. Like, they were like, okay, stand here and dance. Like,
well, maybe now though that people should have a little bit more creative control of their video. Then you know what I mean? Because like these were definitely going to be produced by the show, and so I don't know. Maybe they should have more agency into what's being presented if it's going to be voted on.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was interesting about this twist, it allows people to jump into the game immediately. Like they didn't have to like be like, oh, let's go and pretend we're talking about something and start strategizing and like maybe come across looking as strategizing too early or whatnot. Like they had to start playing on from the get-go and then talk about who they would vote out, who they want to stay right from the beginning. And it kind of, I think it made it easier for everybody else, to be honest.
I feel like everyone was on their own little life raft just trying to do that. And like those four just got like a small hole in their boat. And it's like, okay, they're slowly sinking. But as opposed to just going to one person, waiting to have power, fake conversations, they're all realizing there's a problem and there's multiple ways you can solve it. And it was just different gameplay on week one than we're used to. And I really like that part.
But how great would it have been if your name wasn't called? Oh. You know what I mean?
They're in the storeroom dancing around. Us four are panicking. Like
they did actually comment on that, which I felt really bad. They're like, oh, everybody's cheering and like having fun and like we're stressing out here. And I was like,
the excitement's still real for everyone. It's just they also don't have the burden of, oh, I might go home. So you can't blame them for still being excited. That's sensory overload in there. This is a lot of their dreams. They've been locked in hotel rooms for weeks before this or whatever it is. Like it's, it'd be respectful to contain your excitement. And at least they were in another room doing it, but the other group still knew it was happening. Like,
oh, I know. Didn't you see John Luke's happy dance? It's like a little happy dance.
Yeah.
Crazy guy. It was really funny.
My ultimate dream is to go into the house and get to do a happy dance. That's the best. That would be the best. Just to go into that pantry and just that happy dance is the best feeling in the whole world.
Yes.
I want to slam a cupboard and have a fake noise put over it on the real episode. That's what I want.
And I really want to like swear it bleeped out. That's what I always wanted to have make myself bleeped out.
Top 0 to superhero, and I was really surprised by how that went. Like it was cool.
Yeah.
How do you think that they actually did the fairness option, like according to body weight? Like how do you think that they?
We were talking about that a lot. I think. I actually don't know. Like it could have just been a weight on the other side and the car frame was just a shell and it was literally them just holding up a weight on a pulley and everyone's weight was a percentage of, like they figured out a formula to figure out what your weight should be based off your body weight. But you can have strong arms and be skinny and like that would still be your comp to win then probably. So the body weight thing, I don't know how strong that is of a.
I actually though agree with Kyle though that like having a better positioning because like Mingli wasn't holding with her arms, it was with her body and with her legs more so, and like you definitely are going to be more stable. And women are stronger generally with their lower body than with their upper bodies. So it in the positioning, it ended up being that I think the women had an advantage.
Oh, for sure. I even said I was like, a woman's going to win this. Most women do win endurance challenges. Most of the time, like if they have to hold them up like against a wall or if they're on something, usually a woman does take it. And like I was like, one of these girls is gonna take it always.
I was worried because of the arm part. I was like, ooh, like I can barely do a push-up.
It was looking like the ropes were not that long because the girls were going down to the ground with it kind of thing. I don't know for the guys being taller, did they have enough slack to actually do that? Did they try and then reset? I don't know. The ropes did not look that long. Like it's not like they had this much slack coming down or anything. But even like in season 2 where they all had the one on the waist and they had to hold there and Rochelle won that one. She's hardcore yoga. And right when Mingli says she does yoga, I was like, oh, this seems like it's going to be that similar vibe. So I didn't discredit the girls, but I still thought a guy might win it. But yeah, Mingli was a boss. She didn't even like sweat. Nico was dripping sweat. Good for her.
Yeah, Chris and Nico were the first two out, and then it was like a battle between the two women. I was super excited about that because I 100% like, I know she's on my team, but I wanted Ning to stay. Like, I didn't want her to go out this way. I wanted her just to be safe. I wanted her off. So I was really, really happy that at least it was between the two women, because I was rooting for both of them to stay over the two guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was happy that I was going to get my wish in that regard.
Who do you have her on your team?
I have Ming Lee.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So 35 minutes later, the two ladies are the last woman standing, and then eventually, my girl, Ming Lee, takes the first competition, the strength part. Woo! Happy about that.
Yeah.
And
The
then
guys were kind of deflated on the couch afterwards. Suzanne looked a lot more quiet and somber after the loss, but I think she had also been told before even any of the competitions. Like, I heard people going up to her being like, even if, like, during the premiere not shown, they were like, even if you're bottom two, like, there's no way you're going. There's no way you're going over any of these people. Like, people were telling her that. So I think it gave her the confidence to start this alliance where she's like, okay, us six. And it was really nice to see that she was playing so hard even after a loss.
so that was the end of episode 1, or Wednesday night's episode. I really wanted it to be a 2-hour episode.
I know.
Ripped off, like, because at the beginning, you know, we were seeing all the stuff that we already saw preseason. So they're just seeing the videos again. I'm like, I already saw these videos like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, let's have some new content with those videos. That would have been awesome too, because like, especially if we're going to be voting, or well, I guess we had already voted by that time, but just some new content would have been nice to get to know these people a little bit more. Maybe some more diary room confessionals, so you can see what they're really, really talking about. I felt that it was a great episode. I loved every second of it. I just wanted more, and I didn't want to have to wait until Thursday to get more.
If I'm not mistaken, they didn't do one diary room in episode 1. And
I think I heard.
Maybe they
Vanessa said she thinks that woman is going to take the season. Was that
I think that was episode 2.
I wrote it in episode. She might have said.
Oh, then you're fine.
But
Okay,
I don't know if
maybe.
it was a confessional or if it was just like her talking and her face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so episode 2. Oh. I really, you know, it really started with like the 4 people that were nominated. So like this was their kind of origin story. The hulking brute, the hyped up hotshot, the wild-mannered reporter, and the mindbender were the first like people that they showed there. And I thought that they would actually have focused more so just on the people that were nominated. But anyways, they had these characters. I guess those are who they wanted to be looking at for the most part. But I found that Arissa was very serious in the beginning, and I was like, uh-oh, what is going on? I was like, is someone going to get hurt? Is someone going to get into a fight? Like, I knew from the beginning that something serious had gone down, and like
there was no vote.
Arissa's word is unprecedented.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think she said it twice, actually.
Yes, she did. I was like,
I wrote it down, so I noticed it too.
what's going to happen? And I was like, yeah.
So how do you feel about the second competition for these guys?
Okay, so my opinion is this. Hey, producers, I don't know if you're tampering with the game, but putting those labels on those people in the boxes, you're basically boxing them and pigeonholing them into these characters. To put a showmance in the box, and I can't remember what the other ones were called, but I was like, oh,
and bitter juror.
What was it?
Like, I was like, and he goes, oh, because I can't remember what they said about Vanessa, but I was like, I don't know that you actually should have done that, but.
Yeah.
I wrote that opinion down as well. I was like, well, now these people are going to have to be battling against this. Just the thought being put in people's minds is like, oh, maybe we should be looking out for them as a showman, or oh, like, you know, it's presented right in front of them, and if they see any traits of these things happening, it'll be like, oh, yes, they are a showman. Oh, they are working together. Let's get them out. So I felt that it was, you know, heavy-handed of the producers to do that to them. I don't think that they chose to have those roles.
After the comp, I was like, why didn't they show the like, oh, I'll volunteer, I'll be a part of this competition, like where they just said, no, I need you, go to the diary room, get in this costume, go stand in this box, or were they like, who wants to be thing? Because any one of them could technically be one of those things. Why not throw Ming Lee as the comp beast right at the first one? So it was like, yeah, and the fact that they pushed the two of them to the showmans, that was my biggest problem. I was like, come on, like they already showed her kind of vibing with Chris in like that one-on-one conversation from I think the start of episode 2.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, oh, okay, maybe that's who Madeline's actually into is Chris. But just the comp beast and then like push the button to make Kyle do karate chops and like stop making him demonstrate physicality. Like it seemed very much like they could have done something else for if they just wanted to say like what was a memory, like just do a memory comp kind of thing.
That would be this would be a great question to maybe like ask if we ever get a chance to meet them or anything like that. That'd be also a really good like question to ask. Be like, you know, like when that box thing happened, I don't know if they're allowed to disclose that. Probably not because it's about production.
Yeah.
But I'd really like to know what the thought process on that was.
Yeah.
We're brought into the diary room and be like, would you feel comfortable doing this? I don't know.
Yeah, I just felt that it
Do you feel comfortable? Chantele, do you feel comfortable if all of a sudden you were put in the box and you were like, this is the comp beast?
You gotta wag your finger. Like,
yeah. Why was Angie the host? Why was Jamar the assistant? Like he was already dressed up and ready to go. He knew he was going to be the assistant. Why these people? Just show a little blip. I don't know if they had time for it or not. But yeah, it seemed a little. I don't know. I didn't love the comp.
No, I mean I liked what they had to like remembering stuff. Obviously, like those things are. It's something that you can win. It's winnable on your own.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you guys. I was just to back up a bit, back to Madeline and Chris. I thought that was a little cringy, to be honest.
Anything with Chris is cringy.
Is that
I like Chris. I like Chris a lot.
I mean, I like him more in person than I did in his video, 100%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
He's a little bit too intense for me. Like I was like,
I have a little backstory. So I did this like Wendy's watch party for like BB Cam like super fan thing, and before I did that, I was like putting something on my social media on my Instagram about Big Brother Canada and just being like showing the house and getting people excited for the premiere. And this girl from Markham, like she messaged me and was just like, cool, I'm friends with Chris Wiley. I'm the one that is doing his Instagram account. And he's like one of my good friends. And I'm like, well, I'm from Markham too. And she's just like, oh my God, cool. So we started following each other. Now she's going to start following this and all this.
Nice.
We love Chris.
Yeah, no. At the same time, I will agree that he comes off very intense. Like his eyes, like if he's focused, it's almost like very intimidating, almost scary. But at the same time, I think he's got a heart of gold.
Yeah, I think he's a kind person. Like this is just the outer shell that I'm seeing on this TV show. Like I have nothing but kind things to say about him as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like whatever we say, everybody that's watching, whatever we say about these people is our opinion on how they're playing the game. It's nothing to do with who they are or anything like that. It's just a matter of like, we're not going to say, oh, she's weird looking. No, it's just that these people they've put themselves in this position to play this game, and we are watching them play this game. We're playing on how they interact with everybody, and also like they need to be aware of how they look and how they talk and how the situation. Every single thing every word that comes out of their mouth is the game. So you just got to watch that.
These people are living our dream, so we're going to be critical of everything they're doing and why they were chosen and etc. But I will say, I was like, I don't want Chris on my team, and I was just basing that off of videos.
Okay.
And then like when he gets there, just like the intense staring, but he had some genuine like, oh hey, I'm Chris, but like he does the eye thing. I think he doesn't just have wide eyes all the time. I think he's aware of he's doing it. That's what made me think he's a little awkward or not trust that, because I think he's doing it as action as opposed to it just being part of his everyday life.
Like he's like I'm going to be engaged.
Yeah, like this is social interaction. Like I think he's doing that. That's what he thinks will get him to be liked and respected and have this control he says to have on people. So it just seemed a little disingenuous. Not genuine. Okay.
Hey,
But
I didn't really want him on my team either. So like, but now I'm happy he is. So.
yeah, in his conversations and the way he's been shown to be portrayed since entering the house and that, he's a lot more, I feel, relatable. And I don't think Maddie would have been like, I just think he was really kind. You're really likable. I don't think she'd say that just to blow smoke out his ass. I think she's really like feeling that way. So he must be doing well in the house. And I think his current position is probably helping bring some of that out right away. I think if he was safe, he might be like, oh, I'm just like, it might be a lot more, he'd still be his intense self. I think he's in a little bit of a vulnerable spot, so he's acting accordingly.
And then, but that goes back to like what we were saying before, like these 4 people are put into this position because Canada has voted for them and to be as the bottoms.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Now they're really focused, and now we get to see that, oh, well, you know what? Maybe we should give them a chance, and that they're not the bottoms, and like, who are these other people that we didn't pick? Ooh, I gave them. Who did you guys give your vote to?
I voted for a lot of my team, and I voted for a lot of Carol. I think I voted a bunch of times.
I did mostly.
Oh, okay.
Carol, Angie, Madeline were the people that I voted for.
I only voted for Carol.
Oh.
Because she's got 1 kidney and she's the lesbian of the house.
So Chris wins the second part of this 3-part competition. I felt actually in that moment really bad for Nico, because like, especially knowing that he didn't really fully go with his gut and keep the correct answer there.
Yeah.
Switched it back and he lost.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I did feel really bad. Because it's just like 1 second away from being safe. And
it's happened a bunch of other times where I'm forgetting the house guest, but I think it was a BB Can, and they switched it, and then the last minute switched it back, and Big Brother showed it. I think it was like Final 5 or something, and I was just like, oh no.
Well, I remember that was Christy. Christy did that.
That's it. Yeah, it was American. Okay, yeah.
It was Christy America, BB21, when it was her versus Cliff, and if she had just switched it to false or true or whatever, she would have tied with Cliff. Maybe it won that veto, and she would not have been booted during that double eviction.
Yeah, it was the double. Yeah, you're right. Like it sucks to see it because you just think of yourself in that moment and being like, how crushed would you be? Especially since he already had a feeling, no matter who he was sitting against, between Chris or Suzanne, he was going. It was do or die for him, and he was close.
And right after it, he really just gave up hope. Like his balloon was deflated. Like,
do you think that win would have immediately made him become to life and be himself and get out of that rut, or do you think he was still feeling just all this weight?
I think that he would have felt more confident. I think that he was really, really hurt by the fact that whatever he presented on the show, Canada didn't like. Right. And then I think that he didn't necessarily feel the love from the house guests necessarily, but he was also like, not really engaging because he felt like as though he wasn't liked by Canada. I think that he felt like a loser by not winning the strength competition, like he's a big tough guy and he loses the strength competition. Then he thinks that he's like smart and able to win a mental competition, and then he messes up and loses, and he already doesn't believe that his social game is good because he's in this position.
Yeah.
So I think that if he had won any of the other parts, he would have been a completely different person.
Yeah, okay. He was definitely he was just like shaking his head with every answer he picked. I don't think he really knew any of them, and he was just getting lucky with a few of the guesses. But I think he would have been obviously happier, and you would have seen a lot more of a less sulky side to him. But I don't know how much he could have recovered with those social interactions made or not made on night 1.
My opinion is just I have a very negative opinion right now. So I just have a very negative opinion about the whole situation. Honestly, like, one, have you not watched the show? Like, like seriously, have you not watched the show? Like, it's we all know it's difficult. Like, but have you not? Like, it seems like he has not ever watched an entire season, of the show, because it's like, I understand that, like, Canada did not vote. They were voting on 16 people. A whole country was voting on 16 people. Who knows if you were 5 away from Jean-Luc? Who knows?
Exactly.
So, you know what? Keep that in effect. And all of them were so nice to everybody and so nice to him, and people were sitting there. But I mean, at the same time, okay, check your ego at the door. And that's the whole thing, is check your ego. Like,
It's trying, for sure.
Well, and I agree with you, Mike, because like I feel as though if everybody was a super fan, like that wouldn't have phased them. You know what I mean? They'd be like, whatever, okay, like I got 3 chances, that's better than a first night boot. Like they'd just be amped up and like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. They would just be trying harder. They wouldn't like. I feel like that it wasn't that bad of a situation to be in.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say that probably might have affected him more is the fact that, like, okay, these 16 people, even us, like, even if the 3 of us went in there, we're not used to having to share a bathroom with 16 people. We are not used to having cameras on us 24 hours a day and not being able to, like, even just like fart or whatever or something. It's to the point that, like, this is what I think about when, like, every time I'm like thinking about being in that house, is we don't know like how the mental of not being able to just shut off for a second, and that's the hard part. So if it was more like that for him, I would like to see that more, because like we saw Suzanne sit there, start crying, but then pick herself back up. And that is someone who, like, I'm going to root for in this game.
True. I think she also knew and was told she has the votes. And he knew and wasn't told he has the votes. So right when he loses that comp, it's like, do I really want to spend another day in here? Do I want to just wait for the house to vote me out? Like, I already know what's going to happen. I still would never quit. No, like, no matter what. This is you've worked so hard to get here.
I cried.
Through the process, you don't know if another twist is happening. That is the thing.
Maybe there was a battle
process
for the first evicted. You know, like, never know. And I was like, anyway, before that though, I thought it was a really cute moment was when Suzanne was in the Expedia room kind of crying a little bit, and then Jamar came in, and like, I'm definitely liking Jamar more that he's seen him when he's just kind of chilled down. He's not, I feel you feel me. Like, he was a little bit of that, but like he was giving a good pep talk. He was like, no, you still got this. You can still be in here. Like, don't worry. Like, don't sell yourself short. Like, you got this. And
adversity makes him more real. I feel like being around conflict, it kind of made him reel up a little bit, and I liked seeing that a lot.
I did too. Yeah. What are you gonna say?
I just like you guys.
So Ming Lee decided, I think, a very silly move on her part, in tact-wise, to start campaigning for Jamar. Now, I kind of liked the idea of Jamar staying. I thought that her point was good, because Suzanne is a better, all her points that she made was, I thought were accurate.
Right.
But I thought that she didn't really know her audience at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is bad for you.
Try with one person, see the reaction of one person, and then maybe if there's some momentum, we get it going. So I would have totally, like, I would have stoked that fire and been like, yeah, what if he stays? Well, it all depends what other people say. I would get her to talk, to get into this.
Like, that's a slow burner. Like, get people thinking about that. Like, you can't just announce that to a room and leave. Like, at all. Like,
in her bedroom.
Has she not watched the show? That's like Big Brother 101.
My biggest criticism was with Suzanne, though, right when Carol calmly says, hey, someone campaigned against you. She immediately also said, don't worry, deaf ears, you're fine. Why did, like, I don't think Carol was being shady in doing this. I think it was a really smart thing, because it's in her alliance. She needs to give her all angles. But right away, Suzanne's like going like this. I'm like, that does not make your alliance feel good. These people who just said, we'll save you. Why give them reason to doubt why they should save you? Just be humble and lose your pride. That was the only moment of the episode where I was like, oh, Suzanne, I don't know.
I think it's a really bad look, because I thought that made it easy for any of them to eventually vote her out. Because you're like, oh, she's a loose cannon. Like, we don't know if we can trust her with information. If she doesn't like what's being said, she might pop off. And like,
more importantly, you can tell her anything, truth or lie, and if it's not in her best interest, she will lose it. Like, that's not a good thing to have people know about you, and it's not a good thing to have, whether you can change it or not. So,
And like, let's look at season 5 for a second. Season 5, the vote between Mark and Dimitri. Okay, the first vote, right? And look at how, like, right till the very end, they were still going back and forth. So, like, to have Nico self-evict himself, I am like, it could have gone. It could have.
She could have sunk her own game. She could have got confident and cocky in the coming hours. It wasn't until tomorrow. That's a whole day of talking to people. He checked out.
And yeah, and if she had like kept on having that like, you know, pumped up, like popped off kind of attitude, like Carol might have been like, maybe it's time.
He's right. Yeah.
It might be time to let her go because Nico, he's checked out. Like,
Yeah.
let's keep the checked out guy here. Like, I would have probably pushed that agenda, you know?
I would have been receptive to the agenda. I would have not opened my mouth at all.
Oh, no, I mean, right, of course. But, like, you know what I mean? Though? Like, it might have been considered and it might have gone that way.
Well, I was just very upset because I'm sitting there going, there's 3 people right here that would have killed to fucking be on that show.
Yeah.
And to be in that position.
From Toronto, no less.
Yeah, 3 Toronto guys, like 2 Toronto men and a woman that is like loving the show. And I'm like, hello. And I was like, literally like, I was like, just get out.
Yeah. You called it last podcast. You said, Nico, first out. You said it. And I
props on that. I definitely was like, as I watched the full video, because when I kind of did my assessment, I kind of watched 10-second clips, and I kind of went off zodiac sign, and I believe he's a Libra, and I was like, okay, like Libras, like, okay, and like that's kind of how I ended up picking him. And I was like, the more I was like, oh, maybe he got it, maybe he's got it, maybe he's, oh God, that was a terrible.
Well, there's a Libra being indecisive as usual, so there we go, right?
It's like,
as a Libra, like, but I would not have, me personally, I would like to be voted off, and I would like to go out with style, and I'd like to see that book open up, because I think that's a cool door.
You want the crowd cheering for you. You want
Arissa.
You want to be known for your final word, and you want just like holding your head high, even in like probably hopeless diversity of just knowing you're being voted out, but give it that extra day. That's the thing that got me. It wasn't an hour before the eviction. It was a day and something before. A lot can happen. Twists specifically. It's premiere night. They want wild things. It's not, maybe it wouldn't just go to a vote. Who knows? Like maybe a secret veto is found. I don't know. Like just give it time.
Yeah,
that's the process. That's my favorite thing I like to say about the whole Big Brother thing. Everyone has a story, and it's just like the backstory of this guy just leaving the game. And what kind of superhero is that?
Yeah,
like, I don't know. That's not very
scared. He was scared of the vote. He even said, "So, like, if I leave, then there is no vote." Or he said something along those lines, and I was just like, "Oh, you're scared. Oh, it's fear."
I was at that point though. I was just like, "Ugh, get out!" Like I'm so angry with you.
I think the edit was eventually to get us there.
But can I say something? This might be controversial, but I love the show. I will always want to participate and play in the show, and this is just a critique on the final product, not on the effort that's gone into it. Like I love it, whatever. But they put these poor people into this situation. So they had Canada vote, and what does that vote mean to them? You know, like it means that Canada doesn't like them. And then now, you know, Arissa's saying like, be kind to Nico. Like, you know, he could be having like, you know, he's experiencing all these crazy feelings. Like, don't be mean to him on social media, whatever. And it's kind of like, well, you guys weren't that kind to him when you basically told him that a whole country hates him. Yeah. And now the fact that he's reacting in a way that some people don't really enjoy, you're saying, no, you should be kind to him. He's a person too. But like, I don't think that they took that fully into consideration when they decided to like rip his heart out. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree with you. Like, I totally agree with that.
That is fair, but I always think of this. I even said it watching the premiere. Like, they're walking in like they're walking into the Hunger Games right now. They have volunteered as tribute. They are going in, fight to the death. You don't know when you're actually dead in this game. And I hate quitters. Just like we had a quitter on season 3 of our own. Like, I just don't like it because you just don't know, and you're acting smug about that you know the game better than the game makers. And as a game maker, you don't always know what divine plans they have in store. And he was trying to just bow out without, like, it was still his choice or his control.
He wanted to take more agency into him leaving as opposed to being part of the game.
And another point, there has been a Canada vote every single season. Gary getting back in the game. Which person in season 2 who's getting into the house? Season 3 was
the vote that Sarah,
Brittany and Sarah making have-nots. Like season 6, which Gatecrasher? Season 7, who's moving in? Holly or there's Canada's always voting on your opinion. Oh, season 2 was when Andrew and Sabrina went up on the block. Canada was HOH. Like, there's always this thing. You know it's coming. Don't act surprised or hurt in case you're the one. I have no sympathy for the way the game was designed that way. I think it was a great twist. He just was on the wrong side of it, and you can decide how you react to adversity.
You know, I'm 100% agreeing with you. I'm just saying for them to now say to us, like, be nice to him. Don't be upset with the fact that he quit. Like, he's a person too. I just don't think that it's balanced. You know,
yeah, and they don't want nasty YouTubers.
Pardon?
They don't want nasty internet people. They're just trying to be like, let's keep the world positive. I think that was the message there. It wasn't like we support Nico leaving because leaving the game is cool. They don't think that. They just like, don't ruin this guy's life. He made his choice. Let's all get over it.
But do you think, Chantele, like, I know, Nick, you don't watch this, but Chantele, do you feel that this was kind of brought up by Arissa based off of the Women Tell All Bachelor? Did you watch that?
I couldn't really watch all of it because it was just too.
Did you see the end? Did you see the end of Women Tell All?
What happened? I can't remember. But probably.
With Rachel?
Oh, what'd she say? Oh, yeah, she came over and reminded me.
So Nick, what happened was on Women Tell All, Rachel, a past Bachelorette, she came out and sat on the stage with Chris Harrison and basically spoke to America and said, listen, we are people. We are on this reality TV show, and if you're gonna troll us and talk, like, and then they started putting up the tweets and they started putting up the things that people had said about these people, and it's about the girls that were on this season, and it was like, go kill yourself and all this stuff, and these girls are crying and sitting there and being like, and attacking their culture, they're attacking their face, they're attacking their everything, and it was awful, and I just feel that maybe Arissa kind of like,
I see what you're saying.
You know, like,
I don't want him to have his life ruined or have anybody saying
oh my God, because at the same time, we're not saying anything bad about this guy Nico. We're just saying, like, from a game perspective, we're talking about the game. As gamers ourselves, we are just trust the process, bud.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Like, you're in it for the whole ride. You know what I mean? Like,
we're rooting for you, man. We want you to, like, do well.
You're only gonna play if you're gonna win. Like, that's like, I can't stand behind that. As soon as like, I want to see you fight for it. Like, even if you lose and you fight for it, everybody would be on your side. Be like, he wanted it so badly. Like, oh, go Nico. Like, he'd be the underdog. Like, people would be rooting for him. And
it's a pride and a respect thing too. Like, you'll earn people's respect if you're a gracious loser, and you want to be remembered for that. And this is already going to be hard leaving, whether you quit or get voted out. But like, at least get Canada on your side. Like, just tough it out for one more day and see what happens. Like, yeah, we're beating a dead horse with this now. Yeah. So
do you think he'll be brought back for the finale?
No.
You don't think? Was Shima brought back? She was expelled. That's different. I don't know. I think he will, and I think they'll do like they want to hear his side of it.
What's the girl from
Shima?
Quit on season?
You love Shima.
18, season 18. The girl with the colored hair that quit. Was she at the finale?
Oh, what's her? Megan.
Megan. Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I feel like quit means you're done.
I think it was so apparently a pride thing because he just walked in his shorts and he just left. I would have done like a get dressed up, look good, say goodbye to people, and then evict yourself. Like, just at least give those other people that you just spent almost a week with, give them just some peace of mind. It's like, was he going for shock factor?
Give him some respect to say goodbye. Like, bow out. Like, if you're gonna bow out, don't just put your mic down in the diary room and walk out that
And
weird
then flip-flop out of there.
door that we didn't know that was even there.
I know. So yeah, then it ends with Larissa being be kind to everyone, and then the HOH. I didn't really. It was cool throwing some balls at a thing on the trampoline.
It's kind of a crapshoot a little bit, so hopefully we'll get some.
They do that a lot. Second HOH is usually just like a throw a ball thing. So we'll see.
Who would you want most to win the next?
I think I know who won. So
I do know, so I'm just gonna.
I don't.
I'm not going to.
So then, Nick, who would you like to see win? You could go based off of your team, or you could go based off of like what you see in the house. What would be
both? Give me both. Give me both.
Here you go. Which team member would you like to see get it? And
I think it would be awesome to see Vanessa get it, just because I want to see more of her on the show. They didn't show a lot of her, so just having that HOH, she'll just solidify real bonds. I don't think it'll hurt her game too much. I really don't want to see Jamar get it, just because I don't want to see more of him. Like, who I think will get it? Ooh, I bet Chris is going to be gunning hard for it. He just saw, like, he just tasted danger. He's a big threat. He could perceive himself as. I think he's smart enough to realize the house perceives him as a threat. Gun for it. Take it into your own hands. I think Chris.
Well, that would be kind of fun, especially like in all Big Brother like lore. Do we call it lore or like mythology or like whatever? They're usually the people that might be the first.
Almost a big kid.
Selection gets head of household. So
yeah.
You never know.
Who do you think he would put up?
I don't know. I don't know what has transpired. This is the thing we missed over, but like just Kyle kind of going off on Min Lee. And
oh my god!
I gotta get going to work, but still, it's like just the fact that I thought of him as being a lot more relatable and personable and respectful, and I was kind of on Min Lee's side. I think she could have handled it better. Pull aside the noisemakers. Do one-on-ones. Try and see like if you can solve it peacefully. Don't make it just a house announcement, because yeah, she was being a bit of a princess in it, but like Kyle reacting the way he did, they didn't show us all of it probably, but I was just kind of taken aback with him. So someone, if that's still brewing in the house, whoever's HOH might put them both up and just be like, you guys are rocking the boat.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, this concludes our reality realness. I know. Why don't we bring that back to the next episode?
Yeah. We see this change and comment on his change too. But like we could talk like this for 4 hours, and I would have.
I mean, it's like conversation.
But thank you guys also like for watching. Do you want to take us out?
Whoa. Nick, me? What?
Take it out.
Join us on Reality Realness on Instagram. It's at Reality Realness with 3 S's. You can find me at ShanFranFran, at Nick.Rovers, at Michael Pez. Subscribe, like us, hit the bell, and we'll be back with you next week. Have a great,
guys.
Beautiful weekend and spring forward, because the clocks are going forward this weekend. Yay!
Summer!
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.